So welcome to week 8 in how to create your character. And a quick update on where we are in our process. In the first 3 weeks, we looked at why even bother? Why create this character? Well, very simply, you want to be unique, you want to be surrounded by a unique team, and you want to be in the pursuit of a unique purpose. To achieve all three of those things, you need a character, and that's why we've been building that character. How to actually create your character was the previous 3 weeks. Picturing your character in your mind, adding emotions through color, and then giving your character abilities. And now we're building the story. Last week, we pictured the beginning, the dream, and the present. Those are the 3 pictures you need in your mind to build this story. Now we're going to emotionally fill them in. And we'll follow this up with the lesson that your story teaches, and finally wrapping it up with what this is all for. So as we come to this emotional week, the emotional week about the story, we understand that it's about connection. In the picture here, the boy is touching the world and the webbing is expanding. He's connecting to the world. That's the job of a story. A story surrounds your character and allows you to connect to everything. And the more powerful your emotional connections, the more powerful your story. So this is really about how to live the ever-increasing life. The ever-increasing life is not a theory, it's not a concept, it's how powerful are your emotions? How vividly do you feel the beginning and the end in this journey that we call life? So if we look at a story, there's a lot of ways to map out a story. You have Act 1 with the introduction, Act 2, Act 3, Act 4. This is nice, it's interesting, but it's much like digging a riverbed and having no water. If you really want flow, you need emotion. Emotion is what connects Act 1 to Act 4. It's what takes you on the journey. It lifts you buoyantly, like water does, off the ground and carries you along. It's the emotional power that creates the flow. And this is not a mystical concept of the emotional feelings being out there somewhere. You need to connect to them. You create the emotions. You do this already. Your job is to give direction to your heart so that it can create meaningful emotions that bind together the beginning and the end in the present. So that's how we live the ever-increasing life. Feel the beginning, feel the end, and live in the present. So let's start with feel the beginning. What is the beginning for your character? Well, it is that epic reason, the why, that you were created for. You created this character for a reason. What was that? Remember that why. Feel how it puts you at the center of an epic journey. Never forget the why. Never forget the reason you designed this character. It is what makes you essential to the entire universe. So feel that beginning. Always be feeling that beginning. Have your mind picture it clearly so your heart can feel it. You don't want to live in the beginning, but you want to feel the beginning. And of course, then if you're feeling the beginning, you must also simultaneously, not one and then the other, but at the same time feel the beginning and the end. Why? Because that's how you get somewhere. You can't get from point A to point B without knowing what point A and point B are. You need to know point A, the beginning, and point B, the end. And then your heart can help you get there. It'll figure out how to get from A to B. And remember, the heart is in the middle of the mind and the body. Your 3 creative engines, mind, heart, body. The mind creates the beginning, that picture. The body has to be going in action towards the end, but your heart has to feel both and provide the emotions to the body that will help get from the beginning, the mental beginning, to the physical end. And you have to know what that end is. You have to feel the amazingness of it. And remember, the ultimate end is death. So you don't want to get there too quick. Don't rush your heart in getting there. You want to consider what will be about that death. How will you make that death, the death of this character, the ultimate end of this character, how will it be so magnificent that your heart will want to get you there in its own due time? So as you're feeling the beginning and you're feeling the end, that is what allows you to live in the present. You don't live in the past, you don't live in the future, you live in the present. And that's where emotions spring from. Going from A to B, you're never actually at A or B. You're always on the line, right? You're always moving towards the end from the beginning, while never actually being at the end or the beginning. But emotions don't go in a straight line, do they? They have this defiant nature to them. They don't want to move the way you want them to move. Why? Because life has obstacles, man. There's gravity and there's things in your way and there's obstacles and there's things to explore. Your heart wants to take you on the curves, in the flow. It is going to enrich your character, make your story something that's truly exciting. You don't want to go in a straight line just to get there. You want to enjoy. You want to enrich. You want to expand. You want to live the ever-increasing life. And that's one that has lots of bends in it. So remember, the heart is in the middle. It's going to help you ceaselessly figure out how to get to the end from the beginning, but don't be upset when you don't get to the end right away. Let the end be the end. Let the beginning be the beginning. And trust your heart to figure out how to get there in the most meaningful way for your character. So if we look at a river, it gives us a simple picture for a life story. You have the beginning up at the top of the mountains, right? The spring comes up, you have this little stream, flows down, and then these other streams, these other unique individuals come and bump into you, and your creational energy grows as you roll downhill together, and you become this unstoppable force that eventually goes into the ocean, giving your unique expression into the holistic realm of human creations. And that's a fun little journey. So we can see here's the spring bubbling up, the origin of your character, the why, and then there's this excitement, the discovery of who you are, the naming of your abilities, the using your abilities, and the quick changes and the alterations and the understanding of who you really are. And then the stillness of training comes, the awareness that this is real. I mean, I need to be this character. I need to develop my abilities. So you train, you prepare, you focus on the end and the beginning in the stillness of the present. And then the unleashing of the power you've generated. The emotional flow propels you toward that end. And you become this dauntless structure that cannot be stopped, driving your way through everything, mountains, people, structures, whatever obstacles fall before you because of the creational power of your emotional story. Now, although that's a nice little analogy, seeing the spring, the rivers growing down the hill, and then the river getting stronger towards the ocean, that's really not how the heart feels things. This is how the heart works. It just wants to meander, and let's explore over here, and what about this feeling? It wants to grow things, lots of things all around your story. But it's all about you. The story is about you. You're at the center of it, right? You better be. The centerpiece of all creation, that's you. And the story is being grown around you. Your mind, heart, body want to grow that story. Particularly your heart wants to take you on this wonderful adventure that enriches how awesome your character is. And let it do that. Trust it to do that. So feel the beginning. Feel the end. But only live in the present. So when you feel both, the beginning and the end, then you're in the present. And that's where your character lives, in the present. So as we wrap this up, we need a way to solidify this. And we'll do that with the Week 8 project. Now you have your 3 pictures, and that's what we're going to use here. Your 3 previous pictures about the origin of your character, the dream of your character, and the present reality of your character. You want to pick an emotional color for each of those times, an emotion that defines that era, the era of the origin, the era of the dream, and the era of the present. Then you want to use that emotional color to fill in each of those pictures, to show, give a feeling for how that time period is being experienced by your character. And then lastly, you want to describe in words how your character grows from one picture to the next. Emotions are about getting you from the beginning to the end, and you want to be clear how that's going to happen. Describe how you grow. And when you have those 3 pictures laid out, emotionally filled, explaining how the growth is going to happen, then we'll be ready to talk about the actions of these 3 time periods.